Welcome back to episode 18 of I'm Just an Asshole Sometimes. I'm your host, Clarissa, and I have some great Reddits coming up, so stay tuned. Okay, for our first Reddit, AITA for signing up my girlfriend for a social etiquette class before meeting my family. Girlfriend and I have been together for a little under 3 months, and we agreed it's time for her to meet my family. For some context, I'm blessed and had a fortunate upbringing. My girlfriend, on the other hand, faced some challenges in her life from a young age, particularly financial challenges. She's a beautiful, interesting person despite all of the hardships she's faced. The only problem is that she lacks the manners that my family typically expects from someone I'm in a relationship with. My girlfriend is the first, less fortunate woman I'm dating. For that reason, I made the effort to prepare her for her first dinner with my family. I got her signed up for an online social etiquette course and thought this was a good idea. However, when I told her, she was absolutely furious. She claimed that I'm obviously embarrassed to be with her and that I should just marry a rich girl instead. She even accused me of being just another white privileged guy. To make matters worse, she said that it's racially insensitive of me to feel the need to teach her how to behave. So am I the complete a-hole here? Explanations are more than welcome. First of all, yes, I think so. If you are requiring your date or your girlfriend of 3 months or less to go to a social etiquette class in order to meet your family, yeah, you're an a-hole. So let's go to the comments. First one, YTA, the peasants have spoken. Yep. Someone said, the Queen of England knows that true etiquette is about making sure that all your guests feel comfortable, whether or not they know the proper things to do. This is where most folks screw up. I understand why the OP wanted his girlfriend to take the classes. He knows his family is not trained in truly proper etiquette, and the world would make her feel uncomfortable. And then curtsies. And someone else, the Queen of England is preceded by a team of people who tell you exactly how to behave around the Queen, down to the pronunciation of ma'am. And God forbid you live under the prison of the royal family. You're not even allowed to get mental help, for that is seen as not the done thing and bad etiquette. Wow, that's pretty messed up. But yeah, I remember with Princess Diana and her troubles with bulimia and just with a lot of things. I think the Queen was pretty strict about not wanting her to get mental help because it would paint her as unstable and just not look good to the public, which is so sad. And I'm glad that the early 90s is way different than the 2020s, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad for Diana and what she had to go through. Let's see what else. Well, I don't know. I just think all around it's just rude that, I don't know, you have to have your girlfriend go to a class in order to meet your family. Sounds like your family's problem. I don't know, unless she's, a feral animal. I don't get it. I mean, is he that embarrassed of her, I guess? I don't know. Someone said, my ex tried something similar on me, although he did talk to me first before signing me up for one of those classes. After dinner with his family, he sat me down and told me that he was very stressed by the way I used a regular knife for my piece of fish instead of the special knife. And apparently his mother told him privately that it bothered her how I didn't pay attention to stop my spoon from banging on my teeth while eating soup. Also, I laughed too loudly at jokes. He said that it was very unfortunate that my lack of upbringing had overshadowed our entire evening, and that I needed to consider taking an etiquette class. I dumped him shortly afterwards. See, I can't change who I am. I can't change if I laugh too loudly at jokes. I can't change, I don't know, if I just stupid stuff like that. And I guess my partner, if things like that really bother him, that I use the wrong knife or wrong spoon for whatever dish, then they're not the right person for me. It's like my husband, we've been together almost 9 years, and he doesn't care if I use a fork instead of a spoon or whatever. And I don't know. It's not like we're raised, back in like a barn by wolves, but I don't know. To me, manners are very important, like please and thank you, and just showing gratitude. And if you get, I don't know, for a birthday party, like write thank you notes, like a graduation party, a baby shower, stuff like that. Like, especially in this day and age, I think it's important to write thank you notes. So manners are very important to me, as I'll be teaching my sons. But I don't know, when it comes to the like tiny little things like which fork to use, I'm sorry, but I'd rather waste my energy on much more important things in life than using a salad fork, a dinner fork, and whatever. It's like, I can't. I don't have the patience to be with someone like that. So, I don't know. I hope OP's girlfriend dumps his ass. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, for our next one. AITA for making my ex wait in the other room while I breastfed our son during his visits. My ex-husband, we're separated, gets 2 hours with our son every day. If my son needs to be fed during this time, I make him go into the other room, or I take our son into another room. For the first month, he never said anything to me, but I could tell he was annoyed by me doing this. Yesterday, he finally had a fight with me over it. He said I was being ridiculous since he'd seen me naked hundreds of times, and that I was purposely cutting into his time with our son. He wouldn't leave the room when I asked him to, so I ended up having to feed my son in front of him because he was angry and crying. He told me today he was going to move back into our home. AITA. Excuse me? He told you he's going to move back into your home? Is that something you want? Are you guys ending your separation? Kind of need more clarification. And no, you're not the a-hole for going to another room to breastfeed your son. If I was separated from my husband, I would do the same. And I don't know, I like feeding my sons. I feel like that's our time to bond and just kind of chill instead of, I don't know, feel like the need to talk, especially with someone, I don't know, you're not particularly on good terms with. But I don't know, this guy just angers me. So for the comments. He told you he's moving back in? Nope. He does not have your consent to see any part of your body. You don't want him to, end of story. Previous consent does not equal current consent. He also does not have your consent to reside in your home. Call your lawyer right away. Get off Reddit and call your lawyer. NTA. And then ETA, OP is explaining in the comments that the 2 hours is whenever he has the time, and that the dad usually has somewhere else to be, so he can't stay longer. So it's clear that OP is not restricting the dad to a tight 2 hours and then kicking him out. This dad barely makes time for the kid and expects this mom to just let the kid starve because he happened to show up during a time when the kid would inevitably get hungry. I had a baby who refused bottles to the point where I had to reduce my work schedule to get home sooner because she was starving, even with people constantly trying to bottle feed her. Just give him bottles is easier said than done. Okay, this, it's not cutting into your time if you're just showing up whenever the hell you want and, I don't know, just making time, I guess. I don't know. What a joke. Someone said that declaration from him makes me wonder why he's an ex and what exactly he's doing while she's breastfeeding. Not that it changes my NTA, but out of curiosity. Like, is he staring? Is he leering? Is he talking? Is he somehow being inappropriate? I saw one comment that said he makes her tense and that makes it hard to breastfeed, which I totally understand. I think there is a whole lot more to this story that would increase the NTAs. Exactly. If you don't feel comfortable, your baby's going to sense that, and it's going to be hard to breastfeed, and it'll be harder for your baby to breastfeed. So, absolutely, I'd tell him, like, you're not going to be around me while I breastfeed. Sorry, go somewhere else. Someone said, I don't think it matters. She doesn't want him to, period. Exactly. Another one said, and then declaring that he's moving back in. Excuse you, this is not your sovereign nation, you entitled non-existent parent. Edited, change some name calling to something less offensive. Edited to, I didn't expect my comment to make so many people laugh. Thank you everyone for the comments and upvotes. Then someone said, why does it matter? He's an ex and he doesn't have consent to see her breasts. Just because some women are comfortable breastfeeding in public doesn't mean all are. And he's not entitled to a damn thing that has to do with her body. She's uncomfortable with it, and that's the end of it. True. Then someone said, I think it's a power move. She broke up with him, so he no longer has access to her body. So he is trying to use the baby feeding to force her to show him her breasts. Absolutely a power move. He wants her to show that he can still access her body and control her even when she said no to both of those things. True. Someone said, exactly. Did anybody else read this and immediately get danger vibes? This guy is already pushing hard boundaries to see what he can get away with when told no. I wouldn't put it past him to escalate. Then someone said, yes, definitely this, especially if his response to, you can, 30 minutes to feed the kid, therefore you owe me to allow me to live here is ridiculous logic of someone who is grasping at straws to get what they really want. I don't know. I would not want him moving back in, and it sounds like she absolutely doesn't want him to either. I'm going to check and see if she made any comments on this post. And let's see. She said, I'm just going to read her comments. It varies. Sometimes he stops after 15 minutes, sometimes a lot longer. We've only extended it once. He usually has to be somewhere else after the 2 hours. And then he said, okay. Someone asked, info, you invited him to move back in, or he just told you he was going to? She said, he told me he was going to. No, thank you, sir. And then, let's see what another one says. Well, someone deleted the comment to that, but she said, because I don't want him looking at my boobs and I feel tense around him, which makes it harder for my son to feed. Exactly. And then, Let's see. And then someone said, info, can he really force his way into your home? Is there anything you can do to prevent this? She said yes and no, unfortunately. That sucks. And then someone said, info, is this court-ordered visitation? Why is he just showing up whenever he feels like it instead of having scheduled time? And OP responds, it's not court-ordered. He has a busy schedule, so he comes whenever he can fit it in. Sounds like he's coming whenever he's, most inconvenient to her, actually. And she said 2 hours is the agreement we came to that worked for both of us. And the son is 6 weeks old. And then let's see what this one says. Info, can he really force his way into your home? Okay. Someone said it's not a yes and no situation. Either he can force his way in or he can't unless he's paying rent or it's not your home, aka you're living with his family. Then he cannot force his way back into your home. And she responded, I was answering 2 separate questions. The yes for the first and no for the second, as we both own the house and he pays for everything. I can't stop him moving back if he wants to. Oh, that sucks for her. And then she said, I do have a lawyer. Well, I hope for her sake and her son's sake, they can resolve this, somewhat in a civil manner and, get better boundaries set in place where she doesn't feel so tense feeding her son. I mean, that's just a horrible situation all around. My heart goes out to her. AITA for snapping at my husband after he told me to go make dinner at 2 a.m. So, my husband, 27, has been coming home late recently. I'm talking 2 to 3 a.m. kind of late. I don't know what he's doing out that late at night, but he says his evening shift tends to extend and he works extra hours. Anyway, I'm a new mother. I'm constantly exhausted, and I get only a few hours to sleep. Normally, when he's out so late, I have my dinner and not put anything aside for him because he obviously eats at work, like he said. On Thursday, I get woken up by him shaking me at 2:45 in the morning. I ask him what he wants, and he tells me he's hungry and wants to eat. I tell him that I didn't have dinner put aside for him, thinking he'd already eaten at work. He loses it on me and asks, are you effing crazy? Ate at work? Then he demands I go make him dinner. Dinner at 2 a.m. I snap at him and I yell at him, asking what dinner at 2 a.m. He then throws at me that he was working all day, then asks what I was doing all day. The baby gets waken up, which makes me madder. I start arguing with my husband, and he storms out of the room, saying I should have made it up to him after I decided to not save dinner for him. Then goes on comments on how much I eat and how much weight I'd put up lately. I don't know, this is hard to read, but I'm sorry. I refuse to make dinner, and he ends up going to sleep without eating anything. He goes into radio silence after telling me he works hard for this family compared to me, and that the least I could do is have dinner ready for him whenever the time is. AITA for not getting up to make him dinner at 2 and snapping at him after he insisted. No, you are a new mother. And I became a mother January of 2020 and then had our second in September of 2021. It is hard being a mom, a new mom, a mom of a newborn. It is so hard. So, no, he could be a little bit nicer to you. If anything, he can be bringing you home something from work. That way you don't have to cook. I don't know. He could be thoughtful like that. Why is it up to you to cook him something at any hour of the day or night? You're not a chef. You're not his chef. What an ass. I can't stand reading any type of Reddit like this where the guy is such an ass, especially to his wife that just had a baby. Then he's commenting about her weight. Like, seriously? I don't know. If my husband ever did that, I think I would be truly gone. It's like, I don't know. My husband knew what my body went through being pregnant and how much everything hurt, and just the C-section of each of my boys. And I don't know, if he commented on my weight, I would lose it. So, and how dare this guy do this to his wife, where she's wondering if she's the a-hole here when clearly it's him. So it's like, what other things does he say to her? Does he gaslight her on other things too, where she's second guessing, like, am I the a-hole? Am I really, I don't know, like this? Like, I don't think I am, but am I? And it's really sucky when you're second guessing yourself in a lot of different areas. And it's sad to me. This guy is such an ass. I can't. So the comments, NTA, what the F? You don't know what he's actually doing, and he clearly doesn't know what's involved in being the parent at home with a newborn. And he mentions your weight, raging on your behalf. Why are you with this guy? Yeah, it's like, is he actually working? Because it kind of sounds like an affair to me, saying, oh, I'm working late, but then 2 or 3 a.m., really? I don't think he is. And someone else put, I'd be interested in whether or not OP can see the extra money to account for the extra hours. If not, I wonder if it's a low-level effery where he's simply sleeping at work, avoiding the newborn, or high-level effery where he's taken a mistress or drugs to numb the reality of his current life. Exactly. I was going to say, do you have a joint account where direct deposit gets put in there? Because I would be going through and seeing if there's overtime in there or what, because I don't know. It just, and I can't stand when other people make, a stay-at-home mom sound like, oh, what are you doing all day? Thinking it's like Netflix and chill. No. Every day, I don't know, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but there's routines to everything. And I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. And it's about, I don't know, just routines and like everyone hopefully going with the flow with those routines. And, like playing with my 2-year-old and coloring and trying to teach him different things, and then making sure my 7-month-old is included, and just, it's a balancing act. And my 7-month-old, he just got his shots last week while he's teething, so he was just miserable the past how many days. And it's like, my husband would never, ever make me feel like a stay-at-home mom is not a job or it's easy. I don't know. He gives me so much credit, and I really do appreciate that. I don't know. Like, a lot of guys could, I don't know, be more graceful and understanding and sweet to their wives. I don't know. I'm grateful for my husband, so I couldn't imagine putting up with just, I don't know, a piece of shit guy that is just an ass. And someone said exactly what I was thinking. He's also theoretically an adult and therefore capable of feeding himself. Coming home that late at night when anyone who doesn't work those hours is likely asleep, he should have gone through some local chew and spew for something. Exactly, but he has the audacity to shake his wife awake. A sleep-deprived woman. Like, what a pile. And someone said also, if she always saves a meal for him, he won't eat most of the time. She'd have to throw out a lot of food, which wastes money and resources. He's an idiot. And I really want her to find out what he's actually doing during all these extra hours. Can't she share his location on his cell phone with herself? Yeah, exactly. And then someone said she should bring him a plate of food to his office one day that he's working so late. Yeah, but you have to think about the little baby, like hauling a little baby inside while hauling in a plate of food. I mean, it gets tricky. And then especially where you live too. In my neck of the woods, it's been, I don't know, we've still been getting snow and stuff where the roads are crappy. Someone said this, once 9 or 10 p.m. comes, you should visit him at work. You have his keys to the car and put the meal in, and he can grab it and warm it at work. Don't tell me they don't have microwaves. If he isn't there, go home and slip dinner into the microwave and leave the note on the door. Let's see what time he arrives. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. And someone said, truly, some people just don't understand how the world works and not everything revolves around them. They put evolves, but I'm guessing revolves. Someone said, yeah, unless the money is very visible, this dude is A, sleeping around, or B, doing drugs, or C, both. Yeah. I don't know. I hope for her sake, like, it's nothing horrible, but just being treated like that is horrible enough, where you're not getting treated with any respect, and basically you have to be awake at any time he arrives home and, I don't know, greet him with a fresh cooked homemade meal. I don't know. I'd be like, here's a Hot Pocket. Knock yourself out. Okay. AITA for refusing to have my tattoo removed, even if it makes my future husband uncomfortable and insecure. I was a widow for 3 years before I met my fiancé, Julius. I lost my husband and 4-year-old son on a boating accident. When I got back on my feet after losing them, I had their names tattooed on my chest. Nothing grand, it's just their names in cursive and 2 hearts. When I met Julius, I told him about my past, including my depression, and how I had to move back to my parents and depended on them for years. He was very understanding, and after over a year of dating, he proposed. Yesterday, while I was getting out of the shower, Julius asked me when I planned to have my tattoo removed. He said he knows someone who's really good, and he could give us a discount. This was the first time he mentioned something like this to me, so I wasn't sure how to respond. I just told him I have no plans of having my tattoo removed. Later that day, during dinner, he asked me again, and I told him the same thing. He said, we're about to get married, and it's time for me to move on. I told him I have already moved on. He said it's hardly moving on when I still have their names on my chest that he can see every time we're intimate. He said it makes him uncomfortable and insecure of my love for him because it looks like I can't let go of my past. He's been giving me the cold shoulder since. I told my mom about what happened, and she's told me she understands how Julius feels. AITA. No, this is her son and husband that passed away. I don't know, I think it takes a huge, insecure douchebag to ask about removing a tattoo like that. I mean, that was her family that passed away. and I couldn't imagine having to go through that. And if he's that insecure about her son's name and her husband's name, I mean, a lot of people get tattoos as a memorial or, in honor or in memory of, and it's sickening. I don't know, if I were her and someone asked me about my family's names tattooed on me, I would tell them I'm never going to get rid of it. And if it's that big of an issue, then, good luck, because I'm not getting it removed. Oh, stuff like that just irritates me. So to the comments, NTA, it takes some champion level insecurity to feel threatened by someone's late husband and child. How callous can you get? He needs to love and accept all of who you are, not cut away or hide parts he'd rather not see. Exactly. And someone else, I understand he might feel awkward sometimes, but if he was secure enough, he would see those tattoos with care, being empathetic to your loss and story. Tough time he needs to get used to. It's a tattoo. For him, it needs to be a tattoo, not a jealousy thing. For you, a demonstration of love. Talk to him, your tattoo, your story, your body, your memories. And then someone else, OP should be careful. If she still has items that belong to her husband and son, fiance might throw them out to help her move on. Oh, God. This reminds me of so many Reddit stories I've heard where, I don't know, the new wife or husband will do that. They will actually throw away possessions that belong to the late wife or late husband, and there's no way I could ever forgive that. That is sick. Someone said absolutely this. There's a post where a woman married a widower with a teenage daughter. Yes, this is the one I'm thinking of. She didn't like that he still had some of her belongings, including pictures. When they were moving houses, she dumped all the physical things and photos and then went onto the computer and deleted all the digital photos. When the husband found out, he was obviously furious, and so was the daughter. The OP kept trying to justify it as her being really jealous at the time. To complicate matters, she was pregnant. It's a post, I think, from time to time and wonder if her husband divorced her, try to make it work because of the child. That's the one I was thinking of too. And that girl, the husband's daughter, she was about to turn 18 and she wanted to get pictures of her mom. And I mean, it takes someone really callous to just throw away hard copies of the picture, but to go on the computer and erase all the digital files, that is so insane to me. Oh, it's just so sick. Someone put, the worst thing I read is a similar story where an adopted kid destroyed all trace that the dead bio kid had ever existed because the parents were upset at the anniversary of her death. He smashed the disks of several computers, burned backup DVD, burned her clothes stored in the attic, ripped and burned pictures that he had to collect in the whole house. That is sick. Oh. Someone said he was 15. Like, that's old enough to know better. Oh, let's see. I think I'm going to read yes, I'll read the one about the wife and her husband next because they linked it and that's a really good one. But I don't know, if this guy can't get over it, then I would, just end it with him because that's something I'm not willing to budge on. And she feels the same way. I I don't know, because he might be the type that will approach it again in a year, then 6 months, and just constantly be asking her, or give her ultimatums like either you get your tattoo removed, or I'm not going to marry you, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I don't know. Someone put, Julius asked me when I plan to have my tattoo removed. The guy asked when, not if or maybe, but like an effing demand. Exactly. Yeah, that part jumped out at me immediately. OP, if I was in your shoes, I'd be thinking long and hard about the future of this relationship. He didn't even give you the chance to discuss this with him. He had already decided for you that you were going to do this. Seems like a red flag to me. Yeah, and then someone else, he also said he knows someone who will give us a discount, like it's on his body, meaning he probably feels OP's body as his property. And then someone said he can have her dead husband's name tattooed and then removed. He has no right to tell her to remove what's already there. For him to do, that means he has not come to terms with her past, and nothing is going to change that. Not removing a tattoo or tossing out mementos and photos. Eventually, after trying to erase her dead husband and child, he's going to replace her because she reminds him she has a past. They have kids together. He's going to remember that she had kids before. She's not broke. He is. It's a good way of explaining it. Yeah, I don't know. This is something I definitely wouldn't budge on because, I don't know, I would absolutely choose this hill to die on. But that's just me. Okay, this is the one I was talking about in the previous AITA. So it's called I, female 35, threw away old photos of my husband, male 44, with his late wife years ago. He just found out and he hates me for it. This is a throwaway as I do not want this connected to my main Reddit account for reasons that will become apparent if they aren't already. I met my husband 4 years ago, and it was love at first sight. He was a widow and had a daughter, now 17. It was tough to deal with, I won't lie, but I wanted to be with him so badly that it didn't matter. We got married 2 years ago, and we've had our struggles, I won't deny, but overall, it has been a very happy, love-filled marriage. At the beginning of our relationship, I was really, really jealous of his late wife. He had pictures of her around the house. His family loved her and talked about her. His daughter, he same thing. His friends, the same. It was tough. I was comparing myself to her. She was beautiful, intelligent, successful. She was a great mother, friend, wife, whatever you can think of. I know that people don't like to speak ill of the dead, but I believe them when they say these things. I did speak to my then boyfriend about these feelings, and he even took down some of the pictures later in our relationship. Still, his house never felt like my home, as it felt like it was still hers. When we got engaged, we decided we would buy our own home, and we moved in right before we got married. Side note, this was very stressful with the wedding so soon after. Would not recommend. During the moving process, I found box after box of old photos and other materials. Photos of his ex, family photos, photos of them together, baby photos, everything. Some of these were Polaroids. They were so old. They had been together for many, many years and had so much history together. I don't know why at the moment I snapped, but I did. I threw the ones with her away. When we were putting photos up in the new house, I didn't put any of her except one with my stepdaughter. There was a box of her things, and I donated some of the items and threw the rest away. I even went on to the computer and deleted photos he had stored on there. At the time, I felt like I won, maybe. I don't even know what I was thinking this would accomplish, but I did it. For the past 2 years, my husband hasn't noticed. My stepdaughter turns 18 soon. She's a very intelligent girl. She graduated early, goes to a top-tier school, and is very well adjusted for someone who lost her mother so young. We have never ever been that close. I care for her, I do, but she never opened up to me and has never viewed me as a mom to her. I understand, but it hurts. Anyway, my husband's mom wanted photos of her as she was putting something together for her. He went to look for them, and as you can imagine, they weren't there. He asked me about them, and I admitted everything to him, as I wasn't going to lie to him. He is very angry at me and can barely look at me. I've asked him to go to marriage counseling, but he refuses. I'm 13 weeks pregnant and am trying to manage the stress. He's devastated, not just over his daughter, but for himself. I know he loved his late wife very much, and if she were still here, he'd probably still be with her. He's been in tears half the time when he's speaking to me and won't sleep in the same room as me. I've tried to explain that I have felt guilty ever since and why I did it, but he doesn't seem to care. He asked me what he's supposed to tell his daughter. Some of the materials I donated threw away were really important. I know that I screwed up. I know that I need to make this up so my husband and his daughter, but I don't know how. This was such a monumental screw up on my part. I've always been jealous of her, and I did not handle my emotions correctly. I have tried to track down photos of her by other people, and while I did find some from his parents and her friends, her parents died when she was young, and she was raised by her grandparents who are now dead. There aren't many out there. Reddit, I love my husband, and I want to fix this more than anything. I know that I am hormonal right now, and my mind is wandering around to every outcome that could happen. But what if this is the end of my marriage? I can't let that happen, and I need to fix this. TLDR, around 2 years ago, I threw away photos of my husband's late wife. He found out and now can't stand to be around me and is so sad. How do I fix this? What can I do? I screwed up. I need help. Okay, wow. To be that jealous and insecure of someone who passed away is beyond, I don't know, I can't fathom that. It's just, she's gone. It's like, what is there to be jealous of? You can't compete with someone who's dead. She's gone, literally. And that little girl, the only thing she had left of her mom, you threw away like garbage. You threw away her pictures, her items, like she was just trash. And her parents aren't alive. It sounds like she doesn't have any living family. So I can't imagine being that girl, finding out basically my wicked stepmom has thrown out so much of my mom. I think I would go no contact. I would literally hate her, because just going that level of not only deleting or getting rid of hard copies of pictures, but going on the computer and deleting the digital copies. I'm sorry, but you don't just snap and do something like that, where she went and donated some stuff to Goodwill or whatever, and then got rid of the rest, and then continued to get rid of things along the way. I'm sorry, but can't really use that as a defense. Not in my eyes, anyway. I just think it is so sick. And if I were the husband, I don't know. I mean, is she happy that it took him 2 years to find out that every single picture and, well, mostly every single picture is missing because she threw it away because she's jealous and that insecure. I don't know. So to the comments, I snapped, so I meticulously sifted through the photos and specifically chose one of his late wife and stepdaughter that would remain. And also after that, I got on the computer and deleted photos of her too. Doesn't sound like a snap rage-induced decision. Sounds methodical and honestly just evil. God, what an effing drastic measure to take instead of just talking to your effing husband about it. Imagine how low he must have felt once he realized he was probably tossing trash pics of his late wife without even knowing. Oh, that makes me so sad. Someone else says she doesn't feel bad for what she did. She feels bad because she was caught and has consequences now. The way she wrote this, she's trying so hard to get people to feel bad for her in a way. Hella manipulative. Exactly. It's like if it really truly bothered her, she would have fessed up years ago saying, I am so sorry, but I did this. I don't know what I was thinking. I am so sorry. How can I fix it? But no, she waited till he came to her and asked what happened to it. So yeah, she's very manipulative. Someone said exactly. She didn't ask about marriage counseling or even try counseling for herself until she was caught and had to face the consequences of her actions. Oh. And then I lost my mother when I was 10 years old. If my stepmother had done this, then I swear I would murder the witch. What an evil, spiteful, selfish thing to do. Someone else, my stepmom did that this year without telling us kids. She sold our late father's house with all of our baby pictures and heirlooms inside and told the buyer to send it all to the landfill. I'll never get over it, ever. My parents and grandparents are dead. The things in that house were all I had left of them, and she hated us so much that she destroyed all of it, took the money and ran. I will never recover. Wow, that is so sad. Someone put, my mom's stepmother sold off everything my grandpa left for our family. I believe it was the last FU she could give us because a lot of it was stuff from his time in Korea, where he met my grandmother and where my mother was born. She's always been rhymes with bunt. My uncle has a story where she broke his hand before school with a 2x4 and sent him on his way. There, her and grandpa, children, keep trying to get my mom to talk to them because we're family and you're our sister. You can imagine how well that goes over. Wow. And then, let's see. Going to the original post and seeing the comments under there because I'm sure they are pretty good. I just can't believe that. Just how just disgusting. I couldn't imagine doing something like that. And people are right, it's not snapped. It's very methodical. I don't know, it's almost diabolical. And I mean, she wasn't thinking about anyone but herself, just getting rid of the wife's everything. I mean, she couldn't put herself in her stepdaughter's shoes. And she says her and her stepdaughter have never been close. Well, I wonder why. Probably because you never made her feel welcome because you got rid of her mom's stuff like trash. So, I don't know. I have a feeling there's more to it than, I don't know what was said. I don't know why, but it's not letting me through. Keep saying error, but I don't know. I'm going to try one last time. I can't imagine. How incredibly sad. And honestly, I hope the dad does divorce her, pregnant or not. He doesn't deserve a partner that would go behind his back and basically get rid of every picture, item, whatever of his late wife. I don't know, it's just beyond disgusting. AITA for trying to get rid of my boyfriend's dog. And then there's updates as well along the way. Throwaway because I'm not sure if my boyfriend or his friends use Reddit. So my 29 female boyfriend's brother, 21 male, passed away about a month ago. He had a dog, a bull terrier named Cat. The dog was staying with my boyfriend's mother during her bereavement leave. My boyfriend, 29 male, loves this dog. I'm not a dog person, but I can tolerate her. She's not vicious or aggressive in any sort of way. Now here's where the problem comes. Boyfriend and I live together, and I have an autistic 8-year-old son that I have split custody of. He is absolutely terrified of dogs. It's gotten to the point where he wants to be at his father's house rather than ours, and it's because of the dog. Another thing is the responsibility. I already have an autistic 8-year-old. My boyfriend works long hours, and I work from home. We simply don't have time to look after her. I talked to my boyfriend about the possibility of us getting rid of the dog for the sake of my son. He said his mother would take her, but she travels a lot for work. I asked if there was a friend that could take her instead. He says that he isn't sure, but he would like to keep the dog because it was his deceased brother's dog, and he'd like to have something to remember him by. He says he will try to see what he can do. A few days roll by, and he doesn't seem to be actively looking for a place for the dog. Meanwhile, my child asked if he could stay with his dad because of the dog. So I looked online and found a couple looking for a dog. They decide to come get her. So today I told him that someone is making the drive to come get the dog. He flips out at me and asks why I would give his dog away. I explained that my child is terrified of the dog when he visits, something he doesn't understand. And I told him that we don't have time for the dog. He gets mad and says that I don't get to make decisions like that without consulting him first, and that it's not even my dog to give away. I tell him that he was taking too long because I don't want my child to have to fear living with us because of the dog. AITA. Yes. It's not even your dog to give away. It's just, you didn't even consult your boyfriend. God, that's so shitty. Okay, comments. He gets mad and says, I don't get to make decisions like that without consulting him first, and that's not even my dog to give away. And he's right about both those things. You've got a reasonable motivation for not wanting the dog around, but that doesn't mean you can't do it unilaterally. You convince him to do it, and you can't, then you find a way to deal with that. YTA, it's not your dog, and it's not your call. Okay, and here's an update. My boyfriend still hasn't found a home for the dog. He said he can't bring himself to get rid of the dog because it was his brother's. I tried to tell him that it wasn't his dog to keep, and that my child was more important. I said if the dog wasn't leaving, then I was. He kept the dog. So my son and I packed our bags and left. If he wants to be attached to his brother's dog and not care about my son's fears, then that's fine by me. A majority of the comments from my previous post seem to think that we were both wrong. But a few of you thought that I was an a-hole, and that's okay. I just don't want my son to be scared in his own home. But we will be fine. Thank you all for your input on the matter. And someone put, sounds like everyone is better off. And someone else, I think you are missing the part of the earlier post where the vast majority of the people said that YTA, this update is great. This is how it should have ended. You need to prioritize your child, and he needs to live his life with what he loves too. You weren't married, and your living conditions are incompatible. Exactly. And then someone put, OP's problem and strength is that her kid came first. She's right to do so, but she had no consideration at all for the boyfriend and with how she went about it. I'm sure she got in the way of the grieving and would only prolong the worst parts of it. This is a classic. You're technically right, but you're still an a-hole. And someone else, I think most of the YTA part came from the fact that he wasn't trying hard enough to get rid of the dog, so she tried to give it away without his consent, which is really and truly a dick move. It's good that she left to protect her son, and he's probably happier with the dog anyway. So it all seems to have worked out for the best. I agree. Obviously, the boyfriend wasn't, I don't know, he didn't really give two shits about her and her son. So, I don't know. It's like, would you really want your partner to be like that? I wouldn't. So, the dog helped, I don't know, her to realize that he's not a good partner for her and she isn't for him. So, instead of wasting more months or years together, kind of, I don't know, did them all a favor. Let's see. Someone else. Yeah, the majority of people thought we were both wrong. Comment is weird to say when we can easily click on the old post. You don't even need to see the a-hole verdict tag at the top of the post. You can clearly see by scrolling through comments that overwhelmingly people ruled OPTA. OP, do you know we can see that you're lying about that, right? Either way, I think this was the best outcome. I also think OP, you need to learn to give people more grace when they're processing their grief. 4 to 5 weeks is hardly any time at all. Learn to be more sympathetic and considerate in times of turmoil. YTA again. Yeah, I agree. Damn, and she expects us to believe wholeheartedly that what she's saying, even what I assume is a story altered to make her look better. She was dubbed an a-hole. It was definitely for the best they split. This was a horrible set of events. I agree, and it sounds like, well, I hope the dog's happy with her boyfriend, and I don't know, her and her son can move on in a home where her son feels comfortable in, which obviously is for the best. So there you go. Okay, guys, that concludes episode 18 of I'm Just an Asshole Sometimes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for future episodes coming up soon. Thanks, guys, and if possible, love it if you could go to Spotify and leave a rating. I'd really, really appreciate that. And until next time, don't be an asshole. Bye.